I'm just looking at the decks and seeing any spots that might have cracked or bubbled away. Now this is worse than the aft deck here, and I haven't fully went over everything, but you know, spots like this, like that might be suspect. I just kind of reheat and smooth back down. So you just go along and you remelt the tar and just smooth out any of the cracks or bubbles that appeared. Be puttying it in, sort of. And there you go. I'm gonna do this deck next. I went up there and looked around. Okay, Norna is ready to come out of the building. Her bottom is painted, the dinghy bottom's painted, the mast is all tied up. We are ready. I got the bottom paint over there so that when we move the jack stands, I can paint where the jack stands are put separately. All the things. So far so good. We're rinsing off the deck and seeing if there's any leaks anywhere. And the worst leak I found was over here in this corner. It really pours in, like right in this corner here. So I'm gonna look on deck and see what it is. But it looks like it's this bolt hole right there. It's just leaking right out of that. So there must be an open, just a wide open spot that needs some caulking shot in it. Other than that, though, I mean, he's rinsing the boat off really good, and no other leaks that I'm seeing. Not even any drips. Oh, well, that was a drip, but that was because he shot the water up underneath that. So, and I think there might have been leaks before, and I fixed them. You know, because there was some that looked like leaks.
They would leak.
Yeah. It's always nerve-wracking when it's hanging like that.
Oh my God.
Just will. Like,
just
if the barely.
Boat moves a decimal, it will not. So I might shim it just a little. But look at this. Look how close that clears.
Okay.
Is the fridge working?
Yeah, no. I mean, it is, but I had to turn it on manually.
We just got to remember every so often, shut it off as long as you're around.
Yeah, we gotta show the trim you're doing, Pete.
Yeah, well, you know, it's just trying to, this is a new stove, so it doesn't fit like the old one, so I had to rip it out. And now we're just going to make it look a little nicer, but like that don't really, you know, it's not all perfect.
It's fine.
That doesn't match that, that doesn't match that, but it's when you get new stuff, things change. When you first design it, it was fine. 20 years later, when the stove goes to hell and you got to get new, well, actually, that stove was shitty right off the bat.
And then the reason why we probably wouldn't even care about the trim, honestly, but we're doing it because we're going to put a little shim there that'll hold the stove from gimbling, because when you open that oven door, the stove falls. So if you have stuff on the top there, everything will just...
It does that.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to get in here and get something out, you have to do it
one-handed, so you need some way to...
flies at you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice gimbaled stove. It's just the oven's not perfect for gimbling.
If you use one hand, you can hold it. And I think if you're offshore, you're going to have to, if you need two hands, you can say have someone help you, or just use one hand. Usually you can do it like this and then close it, and it's okay.
I mean, you probably don't have to gimbal it when
you hold it with one hand.
Yeah.
You know, it's not bad. You kind of gotta be careful.
Yeah.
It could slip out of your hand.
You definitely can't have stuff up here if you're baking. Any kind of ownership of anything, I guess a house or a boat, things always take precedence over what you actually really need. Like Pete needs a new pair of shoes, but our thermostat is broken on our refrigerator, so.
But okay, so the first thing to do here, I'm
What are you
trying to
doing?
change this filter.
It's what filter?
It's a fuel filter on a Perkins 4108, 7 or 8. And this starter's right underneath it. So, and this is the return line. So the first thing I do is take the bolt out of there, and there's two little banjo washers that you want to make sure you don't drop. So this comes out of there, these little copper washers on top and bottom. So you don't want to drop those, but you got to replace them. But you have to undo that in order to let this drain. And then there's a drain under here, and you just undo the drain. But if you undo the drain without it venting, it won't drain. So you gotta crack that. And then all the fluid drained into this little container I had, and then I just leaned.
That's a tofu container.
So I just lean that like this and get it to go into this other container. So that way it doesn't
Sour cream container.
spill all over the starter. And then once I get that all drained, now you can go ahead and, it just drained in there. Now I'm down to the end, so it's not draining as good, but now I got to get it out of there. So you can see how tight that is to get in there.
Yeah.
So I drain all that. Now that's empty. So now I can undo the filter without spilling diesel all over the starter and into the bilge and everything. I used to just lay a rag on there and go for it, and I hated doing it. So now I can do it without, now I can, it's not so bad. So now I can undo the filter, and the fuel looks pretty nice and clean. There's a little bit of a...
That looks good.
There's a little bit of a... No, that looks real clean in there.
Yeah.
So the fuel's nice and clean. But I got to change the filter because they'll get rusty, and you'll blow a hole in the side of the filter and start squirting fluid, diesel out if you don't change them every so often. I think the filter's probably fine. So also undoing this allows you to get to that nut that does the filter easier. With that there, you can't even get to that nut.
Mm-hmm.
So now you undo this nut, and that just lets this whole bowl drop out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And it barely comes out. But now I won't spill diesel fuel everywhere.
Good job.
So just so you know, that's how that should go.
For anybody who has to change the fuel filter on a Perkins 4107, 4108. Pete's been doing a really good job. Get the two back dead eyes tightened and the front head stays all tightened. Little bear. Ready to go for a walk? Oh look, another stick.